Hey, what's up? I'm gonna be very honest. Doing things even big, I didn't get a lot of work done. I didn't finish the website. I don't think I even touched it, to be honest. And on one hand, I do feel really bad about that. On the other hand, though, I also I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving break. I do think it was a nice de-stressor, debrief, in the sense where like my head wasn't on these stuff as much. I was more so just enjoying myself, which I'm really happy about. I do think that opens different avenues in my head to like plan different stuff in different ways. Just taking a step back and having perspectives on stuff. And that's weird. That's a very long way to just say I enjoyed my break. I got to take a break, mentally and physically. But yeah, but now back at school, stuff are going well, classes are going well. So obviously, like the two main things I have to really deal with are my finals for my programming class and my finals for my math exam. Earlier, I believe I touched on this a bit, and those are going well. I'm still developing a study plan for the math one because I think that's going to be the biggest issue. This second midterm definitely proved that with me getting, I think, a C, but being curved to a B. So I'm going to kind of create a study plan. I got to look through the sample of the practice exam. It doesn't look too bad, but I definitely want to try and tackle the problems a week ahead just to know, have a better sense of what I'm dealing with here. Besides that, though, in terms of startup stuff, I do think it's kind of cool. I can say I'm working on a startup. In terms of startup stuff, we're doing well. We're trying to get more connections. So right now, we're trying to get some mentors here and there, which is really interesting. So that's going well on that portion. I don't think we're going to reach the funding portion anytime soon. Really, that's going to be mainly for the spring season when that competition comes up. But I do think we're doing well. We have a good product. We have a market that exists. And another thing, we're kind of expanding our market, or maybe trying to carve, I don't want to say carve out because we don't want to leave the general audience, but we also noticed from one of our talks that a good amount of people who, a good amount of people that we could help are graduate international students. So that's something we're definitely considering. I do think it's a market I haven't seen been addressed. And a point I think I touched on earlier, there's so many drafts I do for these videos that I don't know why I say it in the previous episode sometimes. But a point I talked about Fresh for Less is that Fresh for Less, an unintentional benefit in a sense is that it allows you to try new foods at cheaper prices, right? So sometimes you want like you're tired of having like the same old meals, but also stuff costs money. So you can't just like it costs money to try new stuff, which is a disincentive to do that. But if you're getting them at cheaper prices, then you can do that. So I feel like for international students, it may help in the sense of you can maybe try more cultural dishes in comparison to maybe the same fries and hamburgers you might have had like for the past 2 weeks. But yeah, that's just something I think is really cool. So we're going to try and carve out that market for ourselves, especially because none of the other competitors in this market that I've seen so far has done that. So I definitely think we have a prime opportunity here. But yeah, we're still in the early phases though, so I do think I don't know. It's like in my head, it's cool to say I'm working on a startup after like seeing a bunch of cool startup stuff on YouTube and listening to some podcasts. A podcast I do recommend a lot. I was listening to my brother actually kind of introduced me to it. It's Crucible Moments. It kind of just interviews different CEOs or different businesses and see how they came up, like the story behind them. And it's really really interesting, just to get an idea of what you might deal with in the future is different ways to tackle problems, just stuff like that. It's really just interesting. I do like their way they tell their stories. It doesn't become boring. It's conversational, as well as there is a narrative that they carefully construct, and it's not like to the point where it becomes so fictional, but it's the point where it's like it stays engaging and interesting. So even if it's like an hour long, you feel engaged the whole time. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I did some of my payment stuff. The research stuff is going really well. Digitizing the notes from the gallery walk. I'm not going to try and explain what that is because it's going to take a bit too much time for this. But the part I'm more excited for is the natural language processing model thing. That's something I do think can have applications in our research as well as some personal stuff if I'm able to accomplish it. Even for another project I'm working for in my big ideas class, I was thinking about how The project is to find the best neighborhood in Pittsburgh. So if I could possibly use the natural language processing model to use some not topic modeling. I'm forgetting what we. If I could maybe use it to maybe using our sense to try and create some word clouds, just to because the one of the data sets I'm using is violations, right? Like different violations, different neighborhoods encounter. And violations, you mean like stuff that aren't allowed. So think of broken the glass or chipped on like those corner walks on the walking paths. I don't know what I'm saying or how to describe it, but just stuff that don't look as clean or the image is not as nice, right? Those stuff can count as violations, and the city counts that. And then I'm wondering what are the most common stuff. So one way I can figure out how to use that to do that is like use a word cloud to see like what word pops up the most, and maybe even do some topic modeling and stuff like that to see like what are the different categories these violations fall under. Stuff like that I think will be really interesting. But as for the future, it's just a matter of time once I'm able to tackle that. But for now, I think that's all I have to say. So besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.